As we look at the 6 economic stages of competitive agility, we're going to see that there's a handful of factors that contribute to a lack of elasticity of supply and to the lack of agility that organizations have in the first place when it comes to their digital and technical products. By understanding this, we'll be able to manipulate those factors directly and make it easy to do the right thing and hard to do the wrong thing when it comes to wasting time, energy, and talent so that we can move towards that culture of innovation. Today we're going to start with Big Bang Waterfall and the problems with digital products that got us there in the first place. You can see that I've drawn here a generic economic production quantity equation that shows the U-curve optimization and total costs between economies of scale on the one hand and inventory holding costs on the other. This helps us find the correct batch size to produce each time we want to build something that we're going to have to store for a while. This is the whole problem with digital products. There isn't a really great sense of the inventory we have. However, the key factors that you'll find that we can manipulate in order to bring down batch size so that we can respond faster to market are transaction costs, economies of scale, inventory holding costs, cost of delay, fixed costs and operating expense like payroll, and our total cost trade-off in general. Don't get overwhelmed yet, because what you might be thinking at this point is you don't know the dollar values for any of these things. But remember, it's not just the actual flow of money, it's the psychology of the organization and the individuals within it as they work together in a socioeconomic way. They're exchanging knowledge, time, and talent to produce something. So it's not always about the money itself, it's about the way that value flows. And there's an important distinction between the two. Now, the more that we can ground that in a common framework that represents our economics, the better we'll be. Dollars could be a very valuable way to do this, but that isn't the only way to reduce batch size and get responsiveness as high as possible. We can also influence the psychology directly. We can see very quickly that it's that psychology of economics that really impact the problems in digital that they have as rookies when organizations are only periodically creating a digital or technical product. And that is that transaction costs are thought to be too expensive because it's unlike anything else they do, but also periodic, so you want to minimize how often you do it. But that has problems of its own. It gives you real learning curve disadvantages. So your economies of scale continue to just be assumed, but completely unknown. You think it's going to be better no matter how big you make it, because the more you can just focus on one function at a time, the better it ought to be in terms of cost. Inventory holding cost is 0, right? We'll get back to that. Cost of delay? None. They're already behind the curve, and they're not a tech company. That's not their core competency. And that has huge ramifications for the psychology of the rest of how projects get managed. Your fixed costs and OpEx, of course, are controlled directly with the budget. If we're only going to invest every 5 years, all I have to do is make sure that you don't spend more than $250,000. Typically you do that with a fixed bid contract with a vendor. That way you can finish up your plans, hire a team, keep them fully allocated, and dump them when you're done. But that continues the cycle of learning curve disadvantage for the duration of that culture. Total cost trade-offs? None, right? After all, when you look at the economic production quantity equation, when H is 0, optimum batch size is infinity. Now, infinite batch size has some very, very interesting consequences, and that is a perfect segue to Big Bang Waterfall in the next video.